Good morning. It's Ginny and Tim from DS Tech in Escanaba, Michigan. We're going to talk about why cybersecurity is important. I'm sure we've covered this before, but you can't talk about it enough, especially in this day and age as things get more and more able to be hacked, or we're always
all connected now too. Even.
Right?
It's just more. Yep.
It gets more and more, and then AI helps them and it helps us. So
it's an ongoing battle, and chances are, if you're on this channel watching this video, you at least care about cybersecurity a little bit, or at least I hope you at least have to watch this. But we'll go into the various parts of business, kind of ways to think about it going forward, and then just kind of talking about various things that are out there. So.
While we're recording, scan, and I'll send you a form that you can fill out to get a free security assessment. So
this just talks about in today's world, businesses and breed technology. Everything's interconnected now, where things are making our lives easier, more. I guess you're being faster, quicker, more efficient in your job. You're ideally using technology to assist getting more done, but because of that, things are more interconnected. So there's kind of like a bigger vault for hackers to break into. If you think about it, if everything's all interconnected, it's not like you have these separate things. So you want to make sure you're definitely secure with the latest and greatest. And the big common question this actually touches on a good point is that most small businesses are like, am I even a target? I see in the news all the time, like these big box retailers are hacked, hospitals, cities, and municipalities, all this kind of stuff. But I'm Joe Schmo and I have a little small business with 10 employees, right? Are they going to really go for me? And the sad answer is yes, because what's happening, they're starting to see is that all these attackers are practicing on the small businesses, seeing what they can get away with, kind of refining their skills. And once they're able to kind of do that, they kind of step up. It's not like someone's going to go instantly and try to hack a bank right away. They're typically practicing on smaller businesses, other things, random websites. And once they kind of hone their skills, they try to go up to the target. It's like a thief isn't going to usually just rob a bank right away. It started off by probably like stealing stuff out of cars, and eventually got to the point where they did. So the hackers
they're driving around the neighborhood to see which house looks the easiest to get into, right? Yep. So the hackers see a hole in the internet.
And they don't know the size of the business. They just see a number. They see, like 1.1.1.1, which obviously is not just Cloudflare, but they'll just see a number. They have no idea if that's a business with 20 people behind it or a business with 4,000 people behind it. They just see a number, and if it's exposed, they're going to try to get in. And a lot of the smaller businesses are kind of what are usually exposed, and they're practicing on those and going up. So no matter the business, small or big, I do recommend at least having a good base layer of cybersecurity with, email protection. You've got your advanced endpoint protection, all that kind of different things that we offer our clients.
Passwords.
It's definitely password.
Multi-factor.
So this one talks about that 60% of small businesses that experience a breach just shut their doors within 6 months, because that's the really small businesses, because it can cripple you. If you have to pay this huge fee, if they try to ransomware, if they lock your files and you don't have a backup, that's the saddest stories where someone didn't have a true backup, or they thought that they had a backup, and then everything gets ransomwared, and they actually didn't have a backup, or the backup wasn't separated, so it got ransomware too, and there's no point to recover from. And so sometimes at that point, it's too hard to rebuild from scratch.
Or they can't run their business because they've just been locked down.
Yeah, you're they basically at a standstill.
So they're not earning money, and then they had to close the doors because it's super sad.
So think about that, and that just you don't have to be that target. For the base layer security, you're going to.
By the way, cybersecurity insurance helps with that, right?
Yes, for some, but the thing with cybersecurity insurance is you don't want the event to even happen, right?
Right.
If you have the insurance, yes, you may get insurance that will help cover the loss and everything. The problem with insurance is it doesn't restore reputation. It can't restore certain other things that you're still going to be going through the event at a little bit less of an advantage than prior to, but definitely cybersecurity insurance is something that most places are requiring now. So definitely you want to make sure. And the nice thing with cybersecurity insurance, that being security minded, a lot of people may disagree with me because they don't want more regulations, but they're kind of pushing people towards getting MFA, doing all this stuff that we've been talking about for decades of like, you need to have the security in place. Well, it's finally becoming required to even have like a safe driving record or a safe cyber record so you can get insurance. So that is helping a little bit.
That's a whole topic on its own.
So again, without proper cybersecurity measures on your business, you risk losing, customer trust, time, money, reputation, all the stuff we kind of talked about if you did ever have an event. So obviously it's important to think about. And a good way to think about it, this talks about it's not just about protection, it's about prevention. So the hardest thing with cybersecurity is if it's just working great, you don't notice anything is wrong. It's hard to prove that value, where typically if you're fixing things, it's like, oh, the computer broke, you came and we fixed it, or this, that. It's easy to measure the success of that. But when nothing happens, you're like, well, obviously that's success, but how much events are you blocking and things like that? So usually you can look at like firewall logs. There's certain reports of like updates and things that you can see that are helping with that. But the biggest thing to kind of get away with is that most people have like an IT budget. Like they have their business, there's all these different variations of the business, but they have an IT budget. And that IT budget covers both, one, the physical computer's hardware, and two, the cost of all your services you pay month to month. The problem with this is that what happens on a year when, like this year, we have to replace all of our Windows 10 systems with Windows 11, or it's the year of the server upgrade, now we just spent a bunch on the server. You can't spend less money on your cybersecurity because that cost is pretty standard month to month. So you want to have two line items in your budget. One is your IT budget, hardware, physical replacement, and two, it's like a monthly recurring budget of this is how much we're going to pay each month for security services, and it's just the cost of doing business at this point. And I know people typically don't like to look at it as an expense. You want to look at it as an investment, and you are, because ideally by having that cybersecurity in place, you're not going to have that downtime, you're not going to have the event, you're not going to have the reputational loss. So you're avoiding all the potential issues that could come with an event by having that. So that's my tip, is when you're doing your budgeting, try to think in terms of IT and cybersecurity and kind of keep them somewhat separate in your budgets. May help you plan for going forward.
I hope you're hearing that, because I just hate it when people learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Like they don't listen until they have the event, and then they're like, oh, I wish I had listened to you. How many times have we heard that?
Yes, unfortunately, more than I wish to know. But yes.
Yeah.
So many business owners may feel the same way at first, where it's just an expense. But again, you don't have to do it alone. Work with us. We can help this with you. If you're kind of new on your cybersecurity journey and you want to maybe take it to the next level, reach out with us. If you're an existing customer of ours, you're probably doing a pretty good set. But if you want to have that, do another scan, talk about, how we could bump you up to the next level. If you were curious about it, by all means, reach out. There's always extra things you could do, whether it's sending the email phishing to your staff on purpose to see if you can get them to click links, whether you're doing the security software, make sure your updates are handled, all that kind of stuff we can help you with, and training your staff, because that's still the weakest link, is the human error factor, where someone's going to click on something they shouldn't, and it kind of lets things in. So we can help you with your training of that easily too. And then, with cybersecurity, if you're really kind of not mature at all, you may be thinking, where do I even start? I don't have MFA, I don't have passwords, I don't have backups. Like, where do I even start at this journey? And my advice is to start small, which is one thing. Start with like password rotation, password manager. That's the biggest thing, is people reuse passwords because they're lazy. You have these passwords on the dark web, and maybe you haven't changed your password in 3 years, and so attackers get into your account. So start by rotating your passwords and using MFA. Those are the two simple things that, if you haven't started anything at all yet, do that. That will secure your accounts the most. And then from there, you can start adding in layers like, let's do the fake phishing test. Let's do the firewall updates. Now let's add advanced, endpoint detection. But seriously, start with passwords and MFA. Start with something. Pick one thing and go with it.
Yep. There's something called habit stacking.
Yeah.
So that's what you start with, right?
Yep.
And don't feel bad if you are using the same passwords right now. Just start there.
Yeah, no, I'm guilty of it too on some of my personal accounts. I wish I had the same, but anyway. Yeah.
I just recently, because I got, we all get Keeper, right? So I finally got it all.
A password manager that we use internally here, that we can, if you need one, reach out, obviously.
Yep. So I finally got it all set up on my devices, and I finally got my passwords cleaned up. So you're not alone.
I try to make it like a yearly task where it's like, oh, the new year, all the new resolutions, everything, and this means rotate all my passwords again.
Yeah, time to check the passwords.
So if you're curious, you want to know where you're at in your cybersecurity journey, maybe we can kind of assess your business, see where you're at, help you get to the next step if you're curious at it, or if you're an existing customer, let us know and we'll
drop scan, and I'll send you where to fill in the form for a free security assessment. Or if you just need help, drop help, and we'll figure it out. Or just go visit our website. There's lots of ways to reach us. So make it a great day. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.